everybody. We are going to continue with our sentence patterns and sentence diagramming. So last week we learned the first sentence pattern, which is just subject-verb, like the dog ran, right? And then we also learned subject-verb direct object, which is sentence pattern 2. So, I love chicken, right? And now today we are going to learn sentence pattern number 3. Subject, verb, direct object, and then also indirect object is going to be added into that. So this third pattern is similar to the subject, verb, direct object pattern, but with just one addition. In the subject, verb, indirect object, direct object pattern, you go one step beyond asking who or what after the verb. The indirect object answers the question to whom or what or for whom or what. The indirect object always appears between the verb and the direct object, okay? So that's going to be the easiest way to find it. And then asking our questions to whom or what or for whom or what. Oops. I zoomed in on accident. I don't know what I did. Okay. So here's an example of the subject, verb, indirect object, and direct object sentence pattern. I sent John a gift. In this sentence, sent is the verb. To find the subject, ask who sent. I sent. So I is the subject. To find the direct object, ask what did I send. So I sent a gift, right? So that's the direct object. And to find the indirect object, ask to whom did I send the gift. I send gift to John. So John is the indirect object. All right? So to find the indirect object, ask the following questions. To whom? I offered Lizzie a sandwich. I offered to Lizzie a sandwich. To what? I mailed the electric company my check. I mailed to the electric company my check. I baked Zachary some brownies. I baked for Zachary some brownies, right? For whom? And then for what? The chef prepared the guests a special dessert. Or the chef prepared for the guests a special dessert. So I'm going to quickly just go through these. Offered is our verb. I is the subject. Sandwich is the direct object. So I offered sandwich to who? Lizzie. So that's indirect object. I mailed the electric company my check. Mailed is our verb. I is the subject. I mailed what? My check. To the electric company. I baked Zachary some brownies. Baked is my verb. I baked. What did I bake? Brownies. For who? Zachary. And lastly, the chef prepared the guests a special dessert. Prepared is our verb. Chef is our subject. Chef prepared dessert. Right? So that's a direct object. And for who did he share, or for what? The guests. Okay? I hope this is starting to make sense, but we'll get this into a diagram in a sentence. Here are a couple other examples. So you got to ask what action is happening. So Travis offered Melanie an explanation. Our verb is the action, offered. So that's our verb. Who offered? Travis. So Travis is our subject. What was offered? Travis offered what? Explanation. And ask who the explanation was offered to. Travis offered explanation to Melanie. All right? Or here's another example. The actors gave the audience a hand. Gave is our verb. You can physically give something. Who gave? Actors. Actors gave what? Hand. Actors gave hand to who? The audience. All right, so audience is our indirect object. And lastly, Marisol sent her friend a long email. Sent is our verb. Who sent? Marisol. Marisol sent what? The email. And to whom did Marisol send email? Her friend, okay? So here's a little trick. Certain verbs, such as ask, bring, buy, oops, I missed a comma there. Give, send, show, teach, and tell often have indirect objects. Also, in a sentence containing an indirect object, the words to or for do not actually appear in front of the indirect object. So make sure you're not including these guys. Do not. To or for. Okay? Be careful not to confuse sentences that look alike because they contain nouns that appear to occupy the same positions. Consider these two sentences. I sent Marcy some flowers. In this sentence, flowers is the direct object telling what I sent. Marcy is the indirect object. I sent to Marcy some flowers. But what about I sent Marcy to the store? Remember, to is a preposition, so to the store is a prepositional phrase, right? So it's telling where I sent her. The direct object always tells whom or what, not where. The sentence does not contain an indirect object, right? Because let's dive deep with my beautiful red pen here. So in this first sentence, sent is my verb. You can send something. Who sent? I sent. I sent what? Flowers. So that's our direct object. And then I sent flowers to whom? Marcy. So that's my indirect object. Okay? Now in this sentence, sent is still our verb. I is still our subject. I sent what? I sent Marcy, so that's my direct object. We don't have anything in between here, and remember, indirect objects always come between the verb and the direct object, okay? So we don't have a space here, and we have to remember to the store is a prepositional phrase. The squirrel ran to the log, right? So prepositional phrases, I always like to put parentheses around them because they're non-essential, right? It gives us some extra information. We could just say, I sent Marcy, and that is an actual sentence because it has a subject and a verb. All right? So here's a little more explanation. Let's just, make sure we all are on the same page. Let me zoom in here. Excuse me. Glenda painted her teacher a picture. Painted is the verb, right? Glenna painted, so Glenna is the subject. Remember to ask the correct questions to distinguish the direct object from the indirect object. For the direct object, ask, what did Glenna paint? Glenna painted the picture, so picture is the direct object. And then for the indirect object, ask, for whom did Glenna paint the picture? Glenna painted the picture for her teacher, so teacher is the indirect object, okay? A sentence, here's another, I'm going to put a star by this. A sentence cannot have an indirect object without a direct object. For example, look at the sentence, Glenna painted her teacher a picture. If the direct object's a picture is deleted, the sentence says, Glenna painted her teacher. You like my LOL there? And if the sentence was Glenna painted her teacher, teacher would be now the direct object, okay? So you cannot have an indirect object without the direct object. So remember this. So here's our first practice set. Get out your piece of paper like last time. You're going to write these down. Oh, just kidding. You're doing it on the PowerPoint. Sorry. So in the following sentences, you're going to italicize the subject, which is Control I. Underline the verb, which is Control U. You're going to make the indirect object red, and then the direct object blue. I was seeing that on your guys' PowerPoint, it's easier to change the color of the text versus highlight, because you have to click the ... thing to get to highlight, so hopefully it's a little bit easier to just change the color of the text. And remember, in this one, not all sentences contain direct objects or indirect objects. So here's my little example. Asher gave his brother a book. Gave is our verb. Who gave? Asher. So that is our subject. Asher gave what? Asher gave a book. So that's our direct object. And to whom did Asher give a book? He gave the book to his brother. So brother is indirect object. Okay? So let's just do number 1 together. All right? Jackson told me the truth. So told is our verb. So for this, you're going to underline just once. Jackson. Who told? Jackson. So Jackson is our subject. You're going to italicize Jackson. Jackson told what? The truth. So that's the direct object. And Jackson told the truth to whom? To me. So that's the indirect object, okay? Go ahead and continue with numbers 2 through 10 on your own. Pause me and I will meet you in the next one. All right, so now we're going to talk about diagramming this sentence pattern with indirect objects, okay? So to diagram this sentence pattern, begin with the parts you already know. For example, in the sentence, Glenna painted her teacher a picture, you've already determined that Glenna is the subject, painted is the verb, and picture is the direct object. So we're going to go back to diagramming like we learned last week. So we have Glenna painted picture all on the horizontal line, and then between the subject and the verb, we have a vertical line that goes past the horizontal, and then for the direct object, between the verb and direct object, we have a vertical line that rests on the horizontal, okay? So now with an indirect object, you're going to place it on a line under the verb, okay? So place the indirect object on a horizontal line attached to a backslash diagonal, which extends slightly below the horizontal line. So just like this, okay? This is our model. So don't judge me. I did this with my school computer and my mouse. I didn't have my iPad when I did this, so yeah, I'm on my iPad right now. That's why I can write semi-normal, but just don't judge me for this. Now you're going to get out your separate piece of paper, MLA format, title this part Practice at 2.9. Then on the next slide, you're going to copy down the following sentences. So pause me real quick while you do that so you don't forget the directions. So pause me right now. Get your paper out. I always pause myself when I tell you to pause me. Okay. So once you got your paper out, MLA format all ready to go, you are going, in the next slide, you're going to underline the verbs twice, the simple subject once. Then you're going to write IO above the indirect object and DO above the direct object. So that's what I've been showing you today throughout this video, okay? Then you're going to diagram each sentence. Also, sorry about my example, I did it with my finger. Oh, apparently I did it with my finger on my computer. Same thing, okay? So here's our example. The teacher gave the entire class a lecture. Gave is our verb. Who gave? The teacher. The teacher gave what? Lecture. And the teacher gave lecture to whom? Class. All right? So we have our beautiful diagram that looks like this, but hopefully better handwriting than what I got. So let's do one more together. Here's our practice set 1 through 8. The supervisor asked Meredith some difficult questions. I don't forget about that N. I'm doing my best here. So asked is our verb. Who asked? The supervisor. Supervisor asked what? Questions. And supervisor asked questions to whom? Meredith. Okay? So now we diagram this. We say supervisor. Oops. Sorry, I clicked something. Not now. Am I still recording? Keep. What did I do? Okay, I think I'm still recording, guys. Sorry. What did I do? I made it weird and fancy. Okay, from current. Okay, sorry. Supervisor asked. I'm trying to write small. Asked questions. Okay. We have this fun thing. And then under asked, we write, this is my backslash, diagonal, and asked to Meredith. Okay. Let me do one more with like kind of better handwriting. I'll do it on the bottom. Okay. The man sold Carolyn some land in North Carolina. So sold is our verb, right? Sold. Who sold? The man. Man sold what? Land. Right? The man didn't sell North Carolina. The man did not sell Carolyn. Right? So man sold land to whom? Carolyn. Okay? In North Carolina is a prepositional phrase. Remember, in. The squirrel ran in the log. That's our preposition. So let's diagram this. Let me make it prettier here. So, man sold land and then our little thing, and then this is Carolyn. Okay? So go ahead and pause me. I'm not going to pause myself this time. And do numbers 3 through 8 on your own. Okay? Alright. So next on your paper, you're going to construct 5 of your own sentences. You're going to make up 5 sentences that include a subject, verb, indirect object, and direct object. Then you're going to diagram them. Okay? So do that now. Come up with 5 sentences. Ready, set, go. Pause me again. Alright, and this is your last assignment on your paper for today. You're going to title it Patterns 1 through 3 because this will touch on all 3 sentence patterns we've learned so far. So you're going to diagram each of the following sentences on your paper. Label the sentence pattern next to each sentence. So it's either subject, verb, dog ran, right? Subject, verb, direct object, I like chicken, or subject, verb, direct object, or subject, verb, indirect object, direct object. I gave her a pencil, right? Remember, prepositional phrases and adverbs/adjectives are not on these diagrams. There's a couple of these guys to trip you up. I did that on purpose because I really want you to think about it, okay? So, I hope you love my wonderful sentences. Anyway, there's one. Which one is really hard? Let's just do number 5 real quick. So my students listen to Da Baby. I don't know if I spelled that right. I think it's Da Baby, not The Baby. And I don't know if baby spelled correctly, but let's just pretend like I'm hip, okay? So my students listen to Da Baby. Students, okay, let's start. Listen is our verb, right? Who listens? My students. That's it. To Da Baby is a prepositional phrase, right? To is a preposition. You gotta remember, to and for are prepositions. So my students listen. So students listen is all it is, and that is the subject verb sentence pattern. Yeah, so just keep in mind 2, in, around, for, from, all of those are prepositions. So keep in mind those prepositional phrases, okay? Go ahead and do the rest on your own. Take a pic on either your phone or your computer, email it to yourself, and then upload it on the assignment page thing. Please, again, ask me if you have any questions. I would be more than happy to Teams with you or have you come down and sit and work with me in my classroom for a little bit if your teacher's okay with that. Okay? Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.